That's caught. Randall Cobb into Chicago territory. Randall Cobb inside the 20-yard line. Randall Cobb is going to score.
We're back after a couple weeks gone. Me, Zach, and our newest co-host, Jen, joining the show. We are extremely excited to have you, Jen. Thank you for joining us every single Thursday, our new day and time, Thursday at 6:30. So keep that in mind, no longer Wednesdays. But yeah, Jen, first things first, we got to welcome you to the show. And I know everyone who's watched the show probably knows you, but we need a little bit of some background still, just for the viewers, just in case.
All right. Well, what do you want to know?
Well, outside of loving Jordy Nelson, what else is your favorite part about, covering the Packers and all that?
I mean, the historical background of this team just makes it all that much greater. So, I mean, my dad is from Wisconsin, even though I grew up in Minnesota. So it wasn't like he had to fight super hard to get us to love the Packers. And it's just the more I watch them, the more I fall in love with them. And you learn something new every day, it seems like, from them, whether it's from 100 years ago or from yesterday. So there's just a lot that I love about this team and the game and the players on it that it's pretty easy to want to talk about them all the time.
Yeah, I feel the same way. But Lambeau LeBeau has the real question, and that's, where's your Carhartt?
I'm wearing a Carhartt vest.
How do you want us to get sponsored, Jen, if you're going to show up
I'm
without
still
your
wearing Carhartt.
Okay, Carhartt, you heard that.
Don't
Zach, how
worry.
about you? How have the couple weeks been for you?
It was very relaxing. I needed a couple of weeks to just kind of decompress away from you and just kind of like,
yeah,
get my bearings back.
Yeah.
No, but really, I think that was beneficial for the both of us to kind of decompress at the end of the season and just kind of get our feet under us again after a really long and very fun season, but another heartbreaking ending.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy to be back, with you and now our new co-host here, who, Jen, I want you to know, I want to make this apparent to you right now. If Eli and I pick on you just like out of nowhere, it's nothing against you. It's our defense mechanism because you're always coming at us. So we just have to kind of put up our guard and just kind of like just prepare beforehand. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing personal.
Yeah. We'll try not to get personal, but you never know.
Eli attacked me right before we went live. Yeah.
Well, I attacked you for eating blue cheese, which I think everyone watching, let's go right now.
Zach likes blue cheese.
I do. Well, see, that was the thing. I like blue cheese, but I'm not going to pick that as the one condiment that I'm stuck with for the rest of my life, which was the question. The tweet you're responding to, that was the question.
Yeah.
That's lunatic behavior. Like
anything I eat with ketchup, I could also eat with blue cheese, aside from like brats and hot dogs.
How does ketchup and blue cheese
when I was younger, I used to mix them together.
Yikes.
And then dip my fries in them. Well, this was a good 4 minutes. Nice chatting.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta find a new co-host.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be eating blue cheese, well, next week you better have a ton of blue cheese and ketchup, and we'll see how those two go together, because I don't understand how that works.
You just mix them. Like, you put the ketchup and the blue cheese, and then you take a fry and you mix it together.
That really does sound disgusting. So
sounds very risky. I don't know.
Sorry.
If that. I mean, I like ketchup, and I've tried blue cheese, but yeah, basically it tastes like mold, which is what I think it is. So,
see, ketchup was my answer to that question. Like, if you had to pick one condiment for the rest of your life, I picked. Well, it was either ketchup or some kind of hot sauce, because I put hot.
I would have gone hot sauce, but I would regret it. Like,
nothing hot for me. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't know how you could eat blue cheese, but you can't eat anything hot. It's kind of like you really shouldn't have any taste buds after all the mold. But I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, mayo.
Well, everyone eats ketchup and mayo, which I find to be disgusting because I don't eat mayo. But I think that's
putting it lightly. Your views on mayo.
Yeah, mayo is a no-go for me. But mustard's worse. So Let's keep
Jen
that
told
in
us
mind.
that she eats spoonfuls of mayonnaise.
I
straight out
said
of the
I
jar.
would to piss Eli off and to
Yeah,
make him throw
well,
up on the show, but
that would work. That would work. And
I could eat a spoonful of blue cheese, and not just like spoonfuls, just one though, if I had to.
if you had to, okay. Well, we'll let that.
I drink pickle juice, so I can't talk shit.
That's
Like a thing.
pickles are good though. So
Yeah, I mean, I pound pickles,
Oh.
but I definitely don't drink pickle juice.
if I could
Oh.
only pick one seasoning for the rest of my life, it would be dill pickle. If
Yeah.
that's a seasoning.
I was
don't know,
expecting
but-
more of like a hostile reaction from the both.
No, pickles are very important. I eat
Isn't that a
pickles.
normal thing? Like when you're drinking, you drink pickle juice.
Well, you have like shots of whiskey with like like
Yeah.
a pickleback type of that's a common thing, I guess. And apparently pickle juice also. Sorry, Eli, you did say you found pickles. I glossed over that because I didn't want to like put you on the spot, but that was, I mean, come on, you're a sick man.
No, I pound pickles. Yeah, what am I gonna do? I pound them.
All right,
Not helping your case.
Let's get into the good stuff.
Yeah,
guys.
let's get into non-pickle related news, which this may not be news, but it happened after our last show, and that is the hiring, and I guess first the removal of Mike Pettin, and then the hiring of Joe Barry. And I mean, there's been a lot of reaction to that on Twitter. It's kind of died down. This is a couple weeks old, but we haven't had a chance to speak about it. So, Zach, what was your initial reaction when it ended up being Barry, when there seemed like it could have gone in a couple different other ways?
I mean, I thought it was going to be, like you said, I thought it was going to be one of the two other candidates they were looking at. I even thought an internal promotion with Jerry Gray was going to be the most likely route that they would take. But Joe Barry kind of really came out of left field. I'm not going to say I came around to it because I'm still kind of like on the fence. You kind of have to see things, congeal, come together, throughout the summer, really, to kind of, before you can really throw together any assumptions or anything. But, Matt LaFleur, you read about it. He wants to run that same Vic Fangio type of defense, which I've always loved. I associate it with those 2015 Broncos teams that just completely obliterated the Packers when they went up there on Sunday night. That 77 Aaron Rodgers game, 77-yard Aaron Rodgers game.
That was fun.
No, but yeah, it was very surprising. I know the track record doesn't really, help buy anybody in. You look at that 2008 Lions team, or even the 2007 Lions team, that neither squad was really good in the 2 years that Barry was there, and then the Redskins for the couple years that the Washington football team, excuse me, don't cancel me, sorry. But then the 2 years that Barry was there on the staff, they weren't anything really to write home about. So it's easy to kind of look at that and just completely dismiss everything. But the talent between those teams and what the Packers have right now, they have such a better surrounding core on defense. But with Jair Alexander, Darnell Savage, Kenny Clark up front, and two really promising middle linebackers, which, associating that with the Packers, given their recent history with inside linebackers, it's crazy. But, it's just one of those things that you really have to let kind of play out, I would say. I know you could say that with so many different things, but you have to let Joe Barry kind of really get a hold of this team, put his ideas into motion. I mean, right now on paper, no, it doesn't look great, but there's still so much time between now and September where things can kind of really come together and give people more optimism.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like Lambeau LeBeau says, you got to give him a chance. Like to guess on the defensive coordinator based on two previous stints as a DC with no talent really on his defense. Like I'm not gonna claim to know enough. I know enough about him right now to just write him off as bad. And he worked with the Rams defense for the last few years, which has been phenomenal. Worked with Wade Phillips, worked the linebacker group there, which has been very good. Turned Corey Littleton, who was undrafted, into a pretty damn good linebacker that all of Packer fans wanted last year in free agency. Ended up on the Raiders, but yeah, I mean, I can't judge Barry right off the bat. But what do you think, Jen? Were you surprised by that hiring? Who are you think they were going to go with throughout that weekend where like it was happening?
Well, I mean, the Jimmy Leonard thing, just because I'm a Badger fan, that was kind of controversial. I'm happy in the end that he did stay with the Badgers. I think he has good security there. He'll probably hopefully take over that team one day. It was disappointing, but I was okay with it for that sense. And then just kind of looking at Joe Barry, yeah, kind of have to give him a chance, and we won't really know exactly what to expect from him until we see this defense out on the field. But I mean, he does have a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers, I think in 2003, worked a lot with linebacking groups. So that kind of excites me just because I think the linebackers on this team have been neglected so much. And I'm hoping that maybe bringing in someone who has those views on them can really get them to step up. And this is a great linebacker group that the Packers have. So in that sense, I think maybe finally we get to see them utilized the way they should be.
Yeah, to see. I mean, I'm curious to see what he can do with Chris Barnes and Kamal Martin in the middle linebacker, because basically it's either we're going to bank on them or draft another one or try to sign an inside linebacker, whatever it is. They never really seem to prioritize that position. So, Zach, you think they're just going to stick with Barnes and Martin, or they're going to try to go after it more aggressively, the middle linebacker position again this offseason?
No, I think Barnes and Martin, I don't want to call them the future, but I think right now, those are the two guys right there. I mean, you invested a fifth round pick in Martin, and he kind of, he had that injury really to start the season. It it tailed off his development a little bit. So obviously that was tough. But when he did step in, I mean, he gave you all the flashes of a potential of a potential star there. I mean, he has that downhill speed. He's instinctive. He just can't finish plays, which is a correctable issue, for not just middle linebacker, but for any position on the defense. Just finishing plays, bringing guys to the ground, making the tackle to end the play. That's fixable. And Chris Barnes, he showed the same type of traits, and he came out of nowhere. I did not expect to see him starting in week 1, but it's welcomed when you find those undrafted gems like that. It's definitely those two guys right there. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Christian Kirksey, whether they let him go for the sake of cap savings. But yeah, no, I don't think they really prioritize that position.
Yeah, I mean, well, speaking of the cap, I mean, I do think Kirksey could end up being someone that ends up getting cut. And again, not news in regards to the last couple of days, but news to open book, which would be David Bakhtiari's restructuring of his contract, which created over $8 million of space for this year. And who knows, we could be seeing restructures for maybe Aaron Rodgers, other people, maybe even an extension for Devontae Adams to create some money. And Jacob, yeah, I'm down. I'll be their inside linebacker. I'm much more of I felt like more of like a nickelback, but I guess I could. Nickelback. I didn't even mean to say that, but I could move into the linebacker spot easily. But
Can you?
Oh no, I could do it. I could bring down the hammer whenever is needed. I mean, look, dude, I pound pickles. I can take care of the middle of the defense. But
All right, Jake Ryan.
Yeah, about the middle of the defense is if J.J. Watt's going to be a part of it. Jen, what do you think? All week it's been J.J. Watt to the Packers. He's in Wisconsin. He's here. He's there. He's flying on this plane, that plane. What do you think? Are they going to actually pull this off, or is it another big-name free agent that we just miss?
I mean, it's the Packers, so I try not to get my hopes up too high. I would love it. I know anybody who's a Packer Badger fan, this is the dream to bring JJ home here and watch him play and compete for something. It would mean so much to this state, and I think it's where, if he could, I feel like it'd be where he wants to go. But it's hard to say, they're 20 million cap space deep, so they're struggling with that. And you also have to consider who we need to re-sign and what else you need to target in free agency. There's a lot of math that goes into it, but if they could figure out a way to get JJ on this team, I think it would be the next step that this defense needs. And he's not going to come in here and play lightly. He wants to play for something, and he's going to come in and he'd probably be a leader right away. And guys like him and Z and Jair running that defense, it's scary. So it would mean a lot to the state just in that kind of homer way, but it would also mean a lot to this team to get a guy like that to really bump up the defense, because it still kind of seems like they can be choppy. And I think that the NFC North would be terrified to have to face J.J. Watt as much as they would. And considering the offensive lines in this division, they would have to put in a lot of work too in the offseason to stop him from getting to their quarterbacks.
Yeah, no, I'm obviously all about them making it happen somehow. But Zach, if let's say bringing in Watt basically automatically makes, Aaron Jones, Corey Linsley, Jamal Williams, Kevin King all gone, maybe even having to cut Preston Smith, like at what point would you say like it's not worth bringing in Watt, or are you all in?
The reality is those things might end up happening anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, what do you kind of at that point? What do you have to lose when all those guys are going to be walking? You're going to cut so many guys like that, and Dean Lowry, likely one of the guys to be cut. You bring in J.J. Watt, he's an instant upgrade to that defensive line, and you have a front four of Zadarius Smith, Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, and J.J. Watt, not even including Kingsley Keke. I mean, that's a really nice group right there. I feel like he could be pretty much what Mercedes Lewis was to the offense, but to the defense, not from a production standpoint, but the type of voice, the type of presence that can invigorate this defense, kind of just uplift his teammates, uplift the guys around him. He was that type of player in Houston. That's why he was the Walter Payton Man of the Year, one of the many reasons. So I think just that type of presence, I think it would be worth the money, and it would be worth, parting ways with some of those guys, because, like I said, it's probably going to happen anyway. They're probably going to heavily utilize the draft to kind of supplement those losses, at corner, at running back. And we've talked about this so much, how they'll go about replacing those guys. But yeah, no, you definitely need to take a look at that. I mean, I don't know if the Packers are. I don't even know. We hear rumors all the time about they're interested, and you see everyone tracking these flights on Twitter like a bunch of maniacs. But for all we know, the Packers haven't even sniffed in his direction. We're just reading off of all these reports that we see on Twitter.
I mean, to be fair, like, it's not even just the NFL that's chasing him. NHL and USA Hockey have put in their bids. Yeah. So he's a freak of an athlete. Everybody wants him.
Apparently, he's going to play for the Minnesota Wild, apparently.
Yep, if you saw that tweet, free agency is Wild, hinting towards the Wild. He's going to come help him win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, again, he wants to actually win something the Wild.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's what's going to happen. But Anthony brings up a good question. It's something Zach kind of pointed to. But, I mean, we have to be honest, when it comes to Preston Smith, the amount of money he's going to get paid compared to the production he had in 2020, I believe he finished with 4 sacks. What do you think about him, regardless of what? Do you think he could end up being someone that's just a cap casualty to save money and get back over the cap, or if they don't bring anyone in, they're going to try to restructure it or leave it as it is? Zach?
Well, Rob Domofsky pointed pretty much, if they bring JJ, Preston's gone. If they don't, they could restructure Preston Smith and he'll stay on the roster. I think either way, I think he's gone, whether they bring JJ Watt in or not. And they'll either utilize some kind of avenue in free agency, look in another direction outside of Watt, or go through the draft and replace Preston Smith. But I think Preston Smith is going to be out the door regardless, because they need the cap relief. They're $19.9 million, or like Jen said, they're $20 million. Might as well just round up. I can do math. They desperately need the relief. And Preston Smith, look, he set an impossible standard. We talked about this before. He set an impossible standard in 2019. So did Zadarius Smith. So anything below those standards, if he doesn't meet those expectations, like last season, which he did have some moments, but if he doesn't meet those expectations, then people are going to want his head on a silver platter. But he's not impactful right now. He's not worth keeping. And if you let him walk out the door, you're going to lose a chunk of your pass rush from him.
Yeah.
So that would just be the perfect opportunity for JJ Watt to step in. Granted, different positions, but still.
But yeah, I mean, considering how versatile Gary and Zadarius Smith are, they were playing inside, outside. But like you said, I mean, a front four with Kenny Clark and JJ in the middle, and then Gary and Smith on the outsides is definitely, I mean, that would likely be one of the best, at least on paper, one of the best front fours in the NFL. And yeah, so JJ Watt, I don't know if you're going to find a single Packer fan who isn't interested in him coming on, but looking at, yeah,
there have been several, surprisingly.
His jerseys would sell out so fast. You'd have to get on a waiting list to get one.
Yeah. That's the first
The
thing.
revenue he'd bring into that city would be insane.
Something I just randomly popped into my head that we haven't really discussed, but that was number one, Aaron Rodgers winning the MVP, and then during his speech, dropping some pretty big news that he is engaged. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone saw this coming, but Jen, assuming you were watching the honor show live, what was your reaction to him just dropping that news so casually?
Yeah, at first when he said, he's like, I got engaged, and then I was like, did I hear that right? And then later he thanks his fiance, so I was like, okay, I definitely heard it right. So it was pretty shocking, but it kind of caught me off guard, and I didn't really know how to think about it. But I think realistically, I was happy, like, okay, maybe now people will put the narrative to bed that he can't be in a happy relationship and also play good football. So that kind of made me happy because he's getting older. I'm sure he doesn't want to spend his life alone. I don't know his views on wanting family or anything like that, but but you would think like he at some point has to think beyond the game and kind of the happiness he's looking for. So really, as long as he's happy, I'm happy. That's super cliche to say, but obviously being a Packer fan, I care about him on and off the field. So I hope everything works out for him. And I guess, yeah, just kind of wait for more reports on it later and get more juice on it.
Did you guys see the rumor that like he might be moving to Hawaii? I don't know how many people were saying that, but I know I definitely saw it somewhere.
I definitely did not see that, but
you didn't see that? I saw a report that he's engaged and moving to Hawaii, which kind of threw me off.
I mean, he's a little zen now, so why not?
Are you breaking news right now, Eli? Is that what you're doing?
No, definitely not. No, I don't think it was Pro Football Talk. If it was, I probably wouldn't be saying it. But I just remember, like one of the, that night when like one of the first, it might have even been like some tabloid that was talking more about Shailene Woodley, who he got engaged to, the actress, about them moving to Hawaii. But either way, pretty fun. Aaron Rodgers engaged. Congratulations. But we do have a good question here about Devin Funchess, because honestly, I was wondering the same thing, considering he opted out. I know there are some people that have been talking as if he could be a part of the plan moving forward. Zach, have you seen or heard anything?
From what I remember, his contract told over into this season. So I think at the start of the new league year, then that's when I think the Packers, that's when they have to, that's when his contract goes on the books pretty much, since he opted out. That's another guy who could probably be cut, but I would still be interested in, seeing what he could do.
Yeah.
I was, for those first several months, I mean, like I talked myself into the guy,
I excited about him. I was like, yeah, this is going to work out. And then he just opted out and ended all that hope.
Yeah. And I think people forget that they chased him, like all the wide receiver talk. It's like, well, they still made a move. It's just, he opted out because of the COVID. So they tried, it just didn't work out.
Yeah. Classic. The Packers actually bring someone in and then they opt out.
Worst luck in the world.
Yeah, but I mean,
more power to him.
Yeah, look, he had to make his own decisions, and he did. And I guess we'll see what happens for this year. But this year does have one of the most, like, at least in my memory, probably the deepest wide receiver free agent class. Like, there's so many good free agents at wide receiver. I mean, just to name a few, when you're looking at guys like Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, Juju Smith-Schuster, Will Fuller, Kenny Golladay, Corey Davis, Curtis Samuel, T.Y. Hilton. I mean, the list goes on. if let's say Funchess were to be cut, I mean, I still feel like the Packers need more help at receiver, and not necessarily just in the draft, because it's very rare you're going to draft someone who's going to come in and be a year one contributor, like, let's say Justin Jefferson. Yes, he had a ridiculous season, but even still, we've seen first round rookie receivers not be that great. So I know the Packers don't have a lot of money right now, but I think they've been linked to Curtis Samuel a couple different times as having interest, and he's someone I've been really high on for a while. So if let's say they were to lose Funchess, and assuming they don't take a receiver at 29, how would you feel, Jen, about someone like Curtis Samuel or Corey Davis, who has experience with Matt LaFleur or something like that coming into the offense?
Yeah, I think anybody who has some good experience that can kind of take pressure off Adams. I mean, not that he needs it. He could be in triple coverage and still make a perfect catch, but I'm excited to see what this free agency offers for the wide receivers. And it kind of does depend again on the JJ Watt thing, how much money they're going to have to spend. But yeah, I'd be stoked to see guys like that. I also, correct me if I'm wrong, is Will Fuller the one will he have a suspension going into the season? Or was it?
I think it was just the last.
Or was it the end? Okay. I wasn't sure if it was carrying over or not, because I didn't know if you could get some kind of deal if he wasn't available. But I mean, he's obviously somebody who the Packers have looked at. We all had pretty high hopes on that. Eli, I know you especially had.
Yeah. Well, look, they would have traded for him, and then he would have been suspended like 3 days later, which really would have been classic Packers. So.
Yeah, but now that if that suspension's over, he's somebody I'm kind of keeping an eye on. Yeah, there's a lot of big names, but he's maybe a little bit more on that cheaper side, a little bit more affordable. So he's another guy who, yeah, there's just so many guys on this list, but you have to look at price tags, and I think maybe they'll look at him again in the offseason and see what they can do with him.
Yeah, Zach, I don't want to get you triggered here, but
it's too late, Eli.
Yeah, we're talking Michael Clark right now. Zach, I mean, I know he would be your dream addition, but trying to get past that, who would be someone else maybe that you could think as a realistic option within, the cap space? And by the way, today they announced the salary cap floor, at least as of today, will be at $180 million, which is, I think, $7 or $8 million higher than it was expected like yesterday. So that's good, and it does have more room to grow. But yeah, who's someone that could realistically make it onto this team, and without getting crazy and talking about, I mean, even Kenny Golladay, Allen Robinson, like those guys are going to price themselves out. Who's someone who's more realistic that you would like to see them try to go after?
I know they have that recent connection to Will Fuller, but knowing the Packers, I can't see them taking that chance after his suspension. Just, they'll see that and they'll just be like, oh shit, I don't want to do.
But it was like an accidental thing, wasn't it? Like a medical list came out, updated, whatever. Like, I don't think it was.
Yeah, no, him and like AJ Bouye, a few guys in the NFL were like misled by a doctor saying a certain drug was okay, and then it turned out not to be okay. But yeah, like Zach said, the Packers usually don't go near those.
Me personally, it wouldn't scare me off, but I mean,
Aaron Jones had some issues, and
damn, that was a couple years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember that. There was a video, I think it was like on TMZ, and then
it's like the first 2 games of the year, I think.
Oh yeah, he did. He was suspended for the first 2 games. Yeah, crazy. Kind of forgot about that ever happening.
Weird. I actually remembered something that you didn't.
Well, I told you why we needed you here, but yeah, you didn't want to believe it.
I would love to see them go after someone like Corey Davis. He's that, physical. He's fast for having that type of body, being strong and just being able to kind of like high point the ball. That would be a really fun component to this offense. That's just my answer for the sake of this hypothetical question. I don't think the Packers even sign a free agent wide receiver. I think they either double down or they triple down in the draft. They just throw a complete curveball out of left field, especially after what they did last year, not drafting a single guy. Throw a complete curveball, double down or triple down, and take advantage of this deep draft class, because you have Marquez Valdes-Scantling going into the last year of his contract.
Yeah,
I can't see them bringing him back next spring. barring something crazy, obviously barring like 1,500 yards or some crazy shit like that. But yeah, I could see them really investing at wide receiver this year in the draft. Just kind of preparing for the future. I mean, you get a couple of rookies on this team, and you have a much higher chance on hitting on at least one of those guys. Kind of like they did in 2018. They didn't really hit on anybody, but
they tried.
They tried. Jamon Moore kind of flamed out, even though he was my favorite of the three. Valdez Scantling, he's carved out a nice little career for himself so far. Equanimous St. Brown, he's, I don't know how to really freaking gauge him, but, I could see them doing something like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, Goody has shown that he'll attack one position and basically, like you said, double or triple down and just hope one hits. That might have been basically their strategy last year. In the 6th round, they drafted 3 men consecutively. So,
and also cheaper. Can you hear me? We good?
Yeah. What was that?
Oh my gosh.
Here we go.
My worst fears are coming true.
No, I said it's also cheaper that way. That's the cheap alternative to kind of like, invest in that position in the draft again. And right now, given their current cap situation and the state of the cap around the league, that would probably be the best way to do it.
Yeah. Knowing the Packers, they're probably not going to actually sign any free agent receiver, especially considering their money situation. But it's hard not to wish when you look at the list of free agent receivers. It's just crazy what's out there. But I do agree. But so moving on from free agency, and the draft is still pretty far away, and we're not going to get too deep into names or this, that. But for the first round, I mean, outside of quarterback, which would be my first guess, what would be the next likeliest position you would think they would go after at 29? Or if they trade up, because Goody has traded up in all of his drafts so far in the first round. But yeah, what position do you think? I mean, in my opinion, it should be cornerback. That's what I would go with.
That's what I was thinking, especially with Kevin King probably not coming back.
Yeah. How about you, Zach?
Maybe not somewhere in the secondary. If it's not a corner, then a safety, because we know how much they love their versatile safeties. Being able to plug those guys in down in the slot, like Darnell Savage did occasionally. Having him play in that robber position. So either a corner or a safety, just somewhere in that defensive backfield, I feel like they'll kind of target. But again, we know absolutely nothing. For all we know, they could take a quarterback.
Exactly.
They could have to take a running back too.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. They are going to have to draft one, likely, in the top probably 4 rounds. Like,
depends on who falls.
They did meet virtually with Jamar Jefferson today.
Oh, I didn't see that. I was about to bring up a different virtual meeting with Asante Samuel Jr., quarterback, obviously the son of former Patriot and I think Eagles cornerback Asante Samuel, who was a star, and I'm really high on Asante Samuel Jr. He's someone I would like to see them go after, but overall, just like you said, someone in the secondary, because it already needed help, and that's without Kevin King more than certainly leaving. So I would go. Yeah, I'm sure that really bummed you out.
No, it's just the realization, like, oh my God, Asante Samuel's son. We just had Antoine Winfield's son in the league last year, and now we're getting Asante Samuel's. Like, goddamn, we are getting old.
Yeah, soon we're gonna have Frank Gore Jr.
Well, you're the old one here, but
okay. Okay. That was just like totally unnecessary. Like, I'm just trying to have some nice discourse here. Okay.
Yeah, you're just too old to try to have nice discourse. Okay.
26, too close to 30.
I'm closer to 30 now than I am to 21.
Wow.
I'm not good at math, but I'll take it.
I'm sorry that I had that realization earlier. I was on the phone with someone and I was like, holy shit, I'm closer to 30 than 21. And
that means you're officially old. I hate to break that to you.
You're the old man here.
Yeah.
I'm registering for my my ARB card pretty soon.
ARB card, okay. Yeah.
I'll send you a cane so you can get around easier.
Okay.
All right, but yeah. So outside of the secondary, but like Jen said, assuming Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams are likely not back, like AJ Dillon, yeah, he had that great game against the Titans, but I don't think the Packers can just go into the season with AJ Dillon and basically nothing else behind it. So either they're going to have to draft someone decently high, or something I would love to see would be James White coming to the Packers, being a real receiving back, something Rodgers has never really had, like a true receiving back. So when you're looking at free agents, I mean, I think James White would be cheaper than the average receiver we were talking about a few minutes ago. What do you think he could add to the offense if they were to bring him in, Jen? Someone like James White.
Yeah, I think another ex-Badger who I've loved watching, and he's shown what he can do in this league. He should be a Super Bowl MVP, and I think he does bring in some of those traits that we would be losing in Jones. I think him and Dillon matched up, they bring very different run games to the table, and I think that's important in building a solid tandem, is two guys who are just as useful but play very different. And I think that you can really be versatile with a guy like White, and I think he still has a lot left in the tank, and you could get him at a pretty decent price. So I'd say I would not be mad if I saw him come here, but there's a lot of free agents who I'd like to see. I just hope that they target one of these positions and bring in somebody who can really contribute to this team.
Yeah, because I mean, in my head, it's just like, at what point is, like we keep saying, we need to get over the hump, and it's like, I don't know how many rookies are going to be those guys. Like J.J. Watt is someone we could bring in that could really push the defense to the next level. And then if you look offensively, if they brought in a receiver or even someone like James White, which people will be like, oh, it's just James White, but to have someone that you can rely on in almost any situation when you're passing the football is big. And
yeah, he kind of turned into a hidden gem in New England, it seemed like. Like, you almost forgot he was there at times, but he had his moments. So if he could come in and be number one, number two, I think he could perform just fine.
Yeah. Zach, I haven't seen this discussed, but I mean, I can't imagine they're going to tag Jones at this point. Saying they did offer him reportedly offered him a top 5 deal, just not in terms of guarantees, which he then turned down. So I don't even know if he would play on the tag, but what's your thought on, Aaron Jones overall? Like, should Packer fans just be prepared that he will not be on the team next year in almost any situation?
I think this was brought up in a conversation thread that I was in. I tagged Ken Ingalls for clarification, because like I literally had no idea. You know me, I don't like talking about shit that I don't know anything about. So I brought him into the conversation. He said that it's not. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he pretty much said it's not going to be done, or it's not likely. It's not going to happen as far as the franchise tag goes. And usually when he speaks about that type of stuff, I tend to listen, because that guy has so many damn numbers floating around in his head, and he's usually pretty spot on. Always spot on. I don't want to say that it's pretty much already sayonara. Aaron Jones is out of here, because anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And like we always say, none of us know anything. We don't know those internal conversations that are happening right now. But when Aaron Jones hired Drew Rosenhaus as his agent, we all kind of like got the idea, like, oh, okay, he's gonna get the damn bag. He's gonna get a lot of money, and it's probably not going to be from the Packers, given their cap situation, given the guys that they need to bring back. Corey Linsley. That's probably it.
That's basically the one guy where it's like I keep struggling on, and someone that I guess we need to talk about, like you just said, they should be bringing him back, in my opinion, if they can.
I would love to have him back, but if they don't, they have the pieces to kind of prepare for that, to absorb that blow. You can play Lucas Patrick at center; he has experience there. And maybe John Runyon's ready to take the reins at one of the guard spots, and you got Elton Jenkins right there. And this is why I would hang on. This is turning into a whole completely different discussion, but that's also why I would keep Rick Wagner. because David Bakhtiari is going into the season still with a torn ACL. We don't know how long that's going to take to really recuperate from. So he might miss a few games. You got Billy Turner and Rick Wagner, your swing tackle, as your bookends. I mean, they have the pieces to prepare to lose Corey Linsley.
Yeah.
But his value to that offensive line and to Aaron Rodgers, I think, kind of gets overlooked. It's really, like we've talked about before, he's had continuity at center. Rodgers has for a huge chunk of his career. Stands for like a couple of years with Jeff Saturday and Evan Dietrich Smith. But
yeah, Jeff Saturday, yeah. It was basically been Scott Wells and Corey Linsley his whole
pretty
career.
much. Yeah. So that connection between quarterback and center is so important. But that's a whole other thing.
No, but just talking about sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Sorry.
You said you don't care if he's back?
No, I don't think.
Oh, you don't think he's back? Oh.
Damn, put words in my mouth.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised. That's why I didn't think you would say that. But yeah, it's hard to imagine, because even though centers don't necessarily get huge contracts, but you could argue he's the best center in the league and will end up getting a pretty big deal. But yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see them try to figure that, just thinking Aaron Rodgers and the center, the free plays, snapping the ball, and they clearly have that connection. But then again, it's Aaron Rodgers, and you can survive, with maybe a little bit of a worse center if they went and plugged in Lucas Patrick, or, they started Linsley as a rookie. If they go and draft and maybe hit, look, it's not likely to hit on someone like Linsley 2 times in a row and starting from day one at center, but it's not like you're losing your left tackle, which they kind of actually are, but it's a different position that you could, like you said, you could cover up better than maybe others along the line.
And it also creates a chain reaction to that running back conversation, because whoever they have going into 2021 in the backfield, they're going to be running behind whoever the hell that center is. Corey Linsley was so good at getting to the second level and paving those blocks for A.J. Dillon, for Aaron Jones, for Jamal Williams. So, those two conversations really do go hand in hand.
Yeah. I mean, it would just be to see that whole group go, of everyone we've discussed, it wouldn't be a different team, but there would be a part of the identity of the team that feels gone. You lose Linsley, you lose Jones, and Jamal Williams brings obviously so much to the team, both on and off the field, but he's his own party at all times. So just thinking all of them might be gone, a little bit depressing. So I'm going to shift the topic back to something that is a little more hopeful. And again, just as probably we get towards a close, and what we realistically think, JJ Watt, there seems to be belief that the decision will be made, in the coming weeks. It's not going to be at free agency in a month. So right now, if you were looking at it objectively, each of you think the Packers pull it off and bring in Watt and then figure out the money on the back end by the start of the league year, or does he end up maybe more in Pittsburgh playing with his brothers? Jen, you could kick us off.
Oh, yeah. It would be nice to at least see them make the effort. I think a guy like Watt doesn't come around every year, so putting the effort in, I feel like there's mutual interest. You would hope. It would be amazing if they could pull it off. It would hurt to see him go play in Pittsburgh, a team that I'm not exactly fond of. I don't know. There's so many speculations and so much talk. He could end up going to the Chargers for all I know. You have no idea at this point. You can make an assumption on every single thing he does, and he's flying here, he's flying there. He was at his nephew's birthday party. Maybe he's in cahoots with Pittsburgh, whoever. But to see him come here would obviously mean the world to a lot of people. And a lot of the things that are on his checklist that he's looking for, the Packers have, starting with a solid quarterback, which Aaron Rodgers coming off an MVP year. So I think it would be really disappointing to see them not put in some effort and to kind of in a month find out, well, the Packers really didn't do much to try and get him. So I think making the effort is what's going to mean a lot. And you don't know what JJ would do to come play for the team he grew up watching, what kind of contract he'd be willing to negotiate. So there's just a lot of unknown and a lot of speculation, and we're just kind of all eating popcorn watching it happen on Twitter.
Yeah, that's basically how I feel, just waiting for something to happen. But yeah, Zach, what are your feelings about that?
Packer fans created such pandemonium over this. I mean, nothing has even happened yet. Like he was released. That was it.
That was it. Yeah, but look, you immediately got to connect the dots. Just boom, Packers done.
He did it in his Wisconsin sweatshirt, though.
Yeah,
hint number one.
True.
I mean, come on. Of course he did in his Wisconsin. He's out here shoveling snow, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's shoveling snow."
He had a green
snow.
Gatorade bottle and a yellow Gatorade.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's digging through snow. Gilbert Brown, his nickname was Gravedigger. Oh my god, it's a sign he's coming to Green Bay. So it's like
we need to write a conspiracy theory like novel based on all the free agents that we thought the Packers would get and then they never end up getting. It would end up with a lot of just turns out the Packers never made an offer is usually what it ends up being.
That shit would be like 50.
Truthfully, Twitter is going to implode no matter what. So I'm fully prepared for that.
Exactly. And see, that's what sucks. Like if you're Brian Gutekunst, like everyone created such crazy conspiracy theories and like all this nonsense over JJ Watt to the point where it's like, if Brian Gutekunst, like he pretty much has his hands tied now, like he has to make the move now because if he doesn't, then he's gonna have protests outside of Lambeau Field. I mean,
well, I will say that I saw Dan Graziano said that right now, at least according to him, it's between Pittsburgh and Green Bay. And he said that he would lean towards Green Bay because of the money, which is actually strange because we're in a bad situation. But I guess the Steelers are in a worse cap situation. But to see someone, like Graziano, who you'll usually rely on what he's reporting, saying that it's, in his opinion, between the Steelers and Packers, definitely giving me some optimism. But we've all been here before where it's like, you get too nuts about it, then it doesn't happen, and then Packers Twitter is going to burn, and it's going to be fun to
put out
watch.
that tweet, and there was a lot of people willing to start a GoFundMe to help pay for his contract, so everybody's willing to do their part. Like, everyone just throw in $5. We can get him here.
All right, everyone watching, you heard that. You got to donate now. JJ, I assume you're watching, so the $15 between the three of us, and then whatever else you get should be enough to cover your services.
Ew, don't call it that.
Relax.
Jen, come on, Jen.
Come on.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I thought of it that way too, but I mean, I didn't say it.
I actually didn't, and usually that's my mind would always go to terrible places. But
it's your guys' fault that I thought that right away.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Zach, you're a terrible influence on everyone you're around. That's the bottom line.
Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna argue that.
Exactly. No response there. But I mean that basically covers the last 3 weeks of what has been going on around the Packers that we were not covering as we took a bit of a break after the season. But
I think one thing kind of not super Packers related, but Carson Wentz signing with the Colts means he's not going to the Bears. So we still don't know who is going to be playing starting quarterback for them yet.
Yeah, him ending up, I mean, it's pretty funny that he ended up getting traded for a third. Well, it looks like it'll probably end up being a first next year. But if it ends up being a third and a second, and then like the Eagles were saying they wanted a Stafford-like deal, which was like 2 firsts and Jared Goff. So yeah, Wentz went for a lot less than I thought. And if the Bears got him for that, I'd probably be pretty upset. Like, I get how he looked this past year, but I still think he's better than anything the Bears currently have. They can maybe draft someone, but I think Wentz is an upgrade over Trubisky or Foles. I don't know if anyone would disagree with me, but that's just how I see it.
Oh, if Wentz went to Chicago, he'd immediately be the best quarterback that they've had since. Okay, I'm not going to say Jim McMahon. That's going back too far. The best quarterback they've had since Rex Grossman.
Yikes. So you're saying Rex Grossen's better than Jay Cutler?
Oh, I forgot Jay Cutler existed.
Well, Jay Cutler played better for the Packers than the Bears, so.
Exactly. Yeah. I consider him a Packers quarterback, not like a Bears quarterback.
I honestly miss him. Like, he was fun to watch. He
was.
Yeah. I think my favorite YouTube video is still every interception he threw the Packers, and it's like 10 minutes long.
Yeah, it's like one of the longer videos you'll find, and it's just interceptions.
There's I'm sure you guys have seen it, that GIF of the Cutler's walking off the field and the ref's waving his hands, and he smacks Cutler in the face, and it falls off. God, that's one of the best things I've ever seen. Yeah,
those are the Jay Cutler moments we all miss. But yeah, like Jen said, I'm happy that Wentz is not in Chicago, and they're not getting Deshaun Watson.
I was gonna say stay from. I don't want him coming here.
Yeah, let them figure out what they want to do with Trubisky and Foles. But once again, first off, Jen, we're really excited that you joined the show and that you'll be here every single week. And for anyone who missed the beginning of the show, again, we're switching. We've been recording every Wednesday. It's now going to be Thursdays live, 6:30 every single week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thursdays.
You guys are promoting that wrong anyways on your own Twitters.
We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, look, it is what it is. But at this point, we got to get excited. Prime time Thursday night. We're going to get you leading right into, Thursday night football when we're looking at the season. And because the Packers are who they are, they should have, not a handful, but a couple of Thursday night games we'll probably get to preview right up before then. So I'm really excited about Thirsty Thursdays. That's what we're going to have to go with moving forward. But before we head out, make sure to give everyone a follow like you see at the bottom of the screen. Zach at It's Zachariah J, Jen at Big Mac _4, and then me at Book of Eli _NFL. And of course, give Game On Wisconsin a follow at Game On WI on Twitter. And we're back. We are back better than ever. And we're going to see you all next Thursday. Thanks for tuning in.
Rodgers gets out. Throws it. Cobb. Touchdown. Rodgers surveying, fires. That's caught. Randall Cobb into Chicago territory. Randall Cobb inside the 20-yard line. Randall Cobb is going to score.